Well, wherever the Bangalore side find themselves right now, they should be in a very different position. An umpiring decision, then a couple of wickets falling, one with an inexplicable shot, then a player who hasn't played at all for the Punjab franchise comes and picks up 2 wickets in 2 balls. What's happening? What's going on? Let's try and solve that. 69 for 2. Devdutt Padikkal should not be there with an asterisk next to his name. Virat Kohli should still be batting. If he hadn't played a shot he normally plays. And Moises Henriques should never be 2 for 2. It's just one of those things. He hasn't been playing. They didn't think he was good enough. Now apparently he is. Joy, which mystery should we try and solve first?
I think the first one to solve is exactly what happened with that umpiring decision. How can a third umpire see that and said that was a flat line? Because here's what I want to say. In situations like this, an edge, either there's a flat line or it's not. It's a binary decision, yes or no. A person is pregnant or not pregnant. You cannot, it doesn't matter. Slightly pregnant is pregnant just as much as fully pregnant is pregnant. It's a binary situation. There was not a flat line. What else? The ball is crossing the glove. What else could have caused the lack of the flat line? Whatever, however little it was, the only thing that would have caused is the glove. How could that decision be given wrong? I mean, how could that be given not out?
It's also something, Joy, we can't rationalize. If we go back to the earlier controversy that we had with the catch, there is still a rationale to it. We know that seen from a certain angle, it could appear to be touching the ground. So that in itself is about a visual, almost a distortion, a visual distortion, which you can still appreciate. It's maybe incorrect, but you can appreciate it. In this case, there is no visual distortion. A flat line is a flat line. A spiking line is a spiking line. KL Rahul from the field on the big screen could see that distortion. He simply walked up to the on-field umpire who cannot do anything about it and went. We could read his mind. He said, what about that? And the umpire said, look, it's not my call. I sent it upstairs. So it's just one of those things, to borrow an expression from our colleague Gaurav Kapoor, who put on our WhatsApp group. You wouldn't want that umpire to be your cardiologist if he can't see a flat line, or if he calls a spiking line a flat line.
No, absolutely. And the other thing is, see, my problem is when this is not a problem of the technical ability of the umpire. It's a problem with common sense. It's either flat or it's not flat. Yeah, exactly. It's not something that he can't see. He's just making a very bad call saying, "Nahi, thoda sa hai, wo kuch nahi hai." अरे थोड़ा सा मैंने टच है या नहीं है? It's binary. एक है या दूसरा है.
And even then, Joy, I would then expect him to say, I see a tiny spike and I don't see that has any impact on contact with bat or glove, and I'm staying with the on-field decision. He used the words flat line, which is the one that perturbed all of us. It will be a talking point, and hopefully something can be done about it. Unfortunately, from a match perspective, Padikkal survives, but in sort of a judicial way, they've lost a couple of wickets straight after that. They sent Dan Christian as a surprise number 3 instead of Srikar Bharat. Maxwell has walked in after that, looked uncomfortable. Suddenly, the early free-flowing stroke play doesn't seem to be possible anymore. So I'm not sure if this is any more a 170 surface, Joy.
Absolutely. Firstly, the surface it didn't look good from the very beginning, but the Punjab bowlers, because perhaps they thought it was a better surface, were pitching it up a bit more. If you saw Shami and Arshdeep's line was they strayed to be on the fuller side and they got punished for it. 55 in the first 6 without any wicket, 14 in the next 4 with 2 wickets down. That tells you something. The spinners are on, and you can make out with the situation what the spinners are doing, that even RCB would be looking today and saying, we should have played Hasaranga. Because there's definitely far more in it for the spinners. I really feel for Ravi Bishnoi. What more does he need? First, there's a stumping which Rahul muffs up. Then after that, there's a catch of Kohli. No, was it Kohli? Yes, it was Kohli. Then Padikkal, there's a catch, straightforward catch. It's not easy, but it's dropped. Then there is a decision against him. The umpire is against him. Kohli, Rahul's Mr. Stumping, Rahul's Mr. Catch. What more can this poor kid do to get a wicket?
Oh, I can tell you that poor kid has not got, but Moises Henriques got his 3rd wicket with an outstanding catch. An outstanding catch from KL Rahul, standing up to his mate Devdutt Padikkal. And this time his luck runs out. He doesn't add too many after that, I'm sure. Padikkal would have known better than anybody else that he had loved that. He is in no obligation to walk, but it would have been in the back of his mind that I'm out. So he plays a almighty waft outside the off, gets caught by Rahul. What about Moses Enriquez? Now we've got to make him captain of that Where on Earth Were You 11?
Captain of Where on Earth Were You 11. I think I like the sound of that. He's definitely there. He's a game trier. He'll keep the ball on the length. And see, that's the thing. In this kind of format, if you do the basics right, very often the batsman will come and give it to you. You don't necessarily need to bowl wicket-taking balls. You just need to bowl balls where other guys are going to take chances, and sometimes those chances won't come off. And Enriquez is a perfect example of that. I think he's just... And I mean, Vishnu will be looking at him and saying, I did the hard work, you're getting the rewards. But it doesn't matter. If they get across the line today, none of this will matter.
So 3 wickets for him. It's a bit like saying, since we alluded to the other man born close to where he was, if Cristiano comes off the bench, he can still score a hat-trick. So Enriquez has come off the bench. He's picked up 3 wickets. He's neither lethal, fast, unplayable, nor is he ripping the ball. He's somewhere in between. But it just seems that RCB maybe weren't prepared for someone who was not listed in the 11. Harpreet Brar in the reverse fixture was a surprise selection, man of the match.
Yeah, they always find somebody to give those 2-3 wickets to who's out of nowhere. But Harpreet has bowled really well today as well. And that's what I was thinking, that if they can, they probably get a couple of overs out of Aiden Markram. Because then what happens is, they've already got 1 out of him. If they get 2 more out of him, and there's 2 of Bishnoi, and a couple of Harpreet, this team is going to struggle. Bangalore is going to struggle to score against these guys.
Well, at the end of 12, they're 73 for 3. Let's just wrap up Cricbuzz Comm Box. Lots to talk about in that mid-show, but how do they reassess the score right now? 73 for 3, they would have started thinking maybe 150. Is that where they're looking at right now?
I think what they'll try and do is get to about 115, 120 by the 17th. And then those last 3 overs, if people like Maxwell and De Villiers are in, just lay the bowling. With those kind of batsmen, you might even get 45, 50 of those, and you can end up at 155, 160. But that's what they'll say. They'll say, let's not lose any more wickets, take any unnecessary risks, take the next 4-5 overs, just play those next 5 overs. I mean, that doesn't mean you don't score anything, but don't take unnecessary risks. And then let fly in the last 3.
Well, finally, AB will have a chance to get a few balls under his belt. And what it means is they'll probably want to take the worm that gets you to the end of the innings and make sure it's a nice flat line going upwards.
You had to mention flat line one more time.
One more time. There you go. So we'll see you at the end. That's all we have from Cricbuzz Comm Box.